Sound of Money with Santosh Sirur.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Sound of Money. And this is season 3, and we have a very special guest joining me from Mumbai is Miss Neeta Meneges. Neeta is the founder and the CEO of Financially Smart. We're going to get to know a lot more about what exactly is Financially Smart and also how to be one financially smart. So let's welcome our guest, Neeta Meneges, on The Sound of Money. Hi, Neeta, and welcome back. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Santosh. It's a pleasure being here, and I love to hear the sound of money.
Most welcome. In fact, you are also an author, and that's what I just heard before we started to record. So, what's the kind of book you've written recently?
Right. So this is my first book. In fact, I'm a debut author. It's almost a year now since the book got published.
Uh-huh.
The first book that I've written is Financially Smart. That's the
Ah.
modern woman's guide to money.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Right.
It's such an
So this
apt
is my-
topic for our podcast
right.
as well.
So this is absolutely a passion project for me because, I'm very passionate about financial literacy and making a meaningful difference. So I thought, why not first start writing with a book for women?
Okay, wonderful. So maybe we talk a little bit about the book itself, and as you rightly say, women essentially are natural money managers, right? The entire budgeting at home, until you get the tick from the wife or the mom or the sister, things don't work and go ahead in any family. So there's always that planning and that budgeting where they are integral, and most importantly, are the ones who initiate it in the first place. Having said that, when it comes to investing or wealth building, many women generally we find are not the quote unquote decision makers. What's been your experience meeting your clients and your customers?
Right. Actually, I think it's most from the upbringing that has happened as well as the cultural thing that's been from years, where, when it comes to finance, it's normally the man handling the money.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I feel women had been taking a step back for quite some time. But I think things are changing. So in my experience also, initially when I started, I'm in this industry now almost 3 decades, Santosh.
Yeah.
And I've seen women where, they have the idea, they are very good once they start investing their money. But the amazing managers of money, as I said, my own mom, she was an amazing saver. She could manage the budget so well. You didn't need to tell her, everything was managed at home. But when it came to investing, it was dad who was taking the decision.
Yeah.
So in fact, even when I grew up, I thought that being a science student or being a lady, I don't need to know about money. Till I actually lost some money that I had earned. I had started earning very early, but I invested along with my dad in some Ponzi scheme where I lost my money along with my dad. And that turned out to be a very costly experience for me, where
Yeah.
it was really hard-earned money, and that I was around 18, I believe, at that point of time, 18 to 19.
Yeah.
And when I lost that money, I said, I need to understand what is this really, really important thing called money.
Yeah.
And why do people whom I felt, there were a lot of, when I got to know about the scheme, I realized that there were many educated people, who I thought accountants would know more about money, commerce students, as they would normally say.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of them retirees, in like my dad and many other people had borrowed money and invested in this scheme.
Wow.
So I realized it was lack of financial literacy. And when it comes to women, women always feel that the man is better at it. It's either the father, the brother, the at times I've seen cases where they even involve the son. So they feel they are not good at it and they find it complex. And I would blame our industry as well to some extent.
True.
Because I believe the finance industry has been made in such a way from years where it is more man oriented, but now it's time and things are changing as well.
Absolutely. You hit the right spot because you also underwent that pain of investing in Ponzi schemes and losing money. So financial abuse is actually, I think it's real and silent. A lot of people don't know about it. And in today's age, right, with finfluencers, if I may say so, a lot of people get hooked on to those Telegram channels, and there's so much of noise, if I may say so, from the SEBI standpoint. And thankfully, the law will take its own course. But there are these red spots or red flags as we early spot them. And one must really not give up. And you're one of those classic examples. It's not that you lost money and you just gave up and said, "This is not my cup of tea," but you in fact went ahead and now you're one of the financial advisors. But there are a lot of women and even men out there who are losing money in these kind of Ponzi schemes. So what are the kind of early signs probably of financial abuse that you may think of and like to caution our audiences?
Right, you put the you said the right thing about financial abuse. I've written about that as a chapter in my book, especially when it
Hmm.
comes to women. I've realized women do not understand when they are being taken for a ride at times,
Hmm.
and that is because due to the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
They wait for something unfortunate to happen till they take charge of their own financial lives or all their own financial decisions. And yes, the red flags that are there are understanding when someone is really promising you high returns.
Yeah.
So I used to teach my clients a simple thing called rule of 72.
Hmm.
I'm sure you are aware about it, and most of the viewers also of the podcast would be aware, but still I will reiterate where 72 by I is a formula where people can understand whether what is the rate of interest at which the person who's offering that scheme is investing at.
Hmm.
Now, I believe when I was offered that scheme, they had told me it was 30% returns. So if I look at 72 divided by 30, which is equal to n, the amount of returns would be exorbitant,
Mind
and it was
blowing.
too true to be
Good.
good.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what was more, at that point of time, it was the incentives that were offered along with that scheme, which lured me and many other clients.
Hmm.
It was for me, it was a yellow hair dryer, which still today I remember, and that's a part of my story. Because the yellow hair dryer was the incentive which was offered for investing my 20 to 30,000 at that point of time.
Hmm.
And my dad had another invested in another gift that was given to him. So we didn't look at where the amount was being invested,
Yeah.
what company are we investing in. We saw it was more of a herd mentality.
Yeah.
So one of the red flags I would definitely say is, use the rule of 72 by I to know what is the rate of return at which your
Hmm.
money is getting invested at.
Hmm.
The second thing is about knowing, when I've seen financial abuse happening in families, wherein I've seen people, women especially, being taken for a ride even before they're getting married.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's the guy who's actually asking them for money to start off a business,
Yeah.
and without understanding, they are giving the money.
Hmm.
There are women who have been taken for a ride when it is their child who's actually using up all the money and
Yeah.
draining them out completely. And the parent is not ready to take a stand more because of emotion.
Yeah.
I've seen this case with single mothers. I've seen this case with a lot of, families that is happening.
Hmm.
So red flags definitely are there.
Hmm.
Schemes are definitely, as I said, sometimes it's exorbitant returns that are promised at a very, I'll double your money in 2 years or I'll
Yeah.
double your money in 6 months. So you have to be aware. That would be around 30, 40, or even more rate of returns, which is actually not you know happening right now. So
Yeah.
people should be aware, and these are the red flags. I feel you should be more aware. You should be financially literate.
Yeah.
I go one step ahead to be saying not just financially literate. Today it's the time to be financially smart.
Okay. So Neeta, can we say that money and emotions are on two different track?
Yes, I would say money and emotions sometimes go together,
Hmm.
because when I do financial planning for clients, emotion is very, very important because
Yeah.
it's not just about returns.
Hmm.
But when it comes to emotions, when you are handling your money,
Yeah.
their emotions are different. So there's an entire subject about psychology of money and behavior of finance,
Hmm.
which I teach as well I understand when I connect to clients. So it is a very, very emotions definitely work.
Yeah.
It's not just buying a product, because when you invest, there's a lot of thing that happens before the investment. It's about
Hmm.
understanding what is your purpose for money,
Hmm.
what is the plan which is there. So
Hmm.
emotions are definitely there, and that's why today we also need advisors
Yeah.
who are able to just understand emotions and not just do calculations.
Yeah.
And I think when women come, that segment, and that's where I speak to a lot of women through this book, and also to a lot of advisors, where I do a lot of workshops for advisors,
Yeah.
where we train them to understand the emotions when it comes to women. Because as I see, whether it's a man or a woman, a
Hmm.
man's brain is more acquainted to understand returns,
Yeah.
you know adjusted to a benchmark, and you talk about all that. But a woman's brain will not understand that.
Hmm.
She will understand, okay, compared to her goals, her life goals, or whether she's getting enough money. So her
Yeah.
questions are very different, and a man is the kind of questions for the same thing,
Yeah.
which is money, is very different. So emotions plays a huge part.
Completely understand. In fact, a new rising generation of investors is the young adult, right? The ones who are into probably even starting to do an SIP as an intern. So, it's, I think for them, it's a super age to start investing. One is, of course, time is on their hand. And the second is the power of compounding, right? So I believe discipline, being consistent, and I think most importantly, persistently making sure that you get that income on a long-term basis. Have you? What's your message for the young adult investor?
So I have a young son, 20-year-old son myself, and I have been dealing with him, and I also do a lot of workshops for young adults. I'm on the board of certain colleges as well, where I talk about having financial literacy and getting this taught to them from a very young age. As you rightly talked about discipline, consistency, and persistency. That's so very important because we talk about starting early.
Yeah.
And there is this wonderful magical power of compounding that is there,
True.
which these students or these youngsters, even if they start at age 13 or 14, they are able to get that power of compounding because they have one thing which most of us don't have, that is time.
Yeah.
And we need to give time for our money to grow.
Yeah.
Right. So it is very, very important that young adults start early. They start investing early. They understand the magical power of compounding and start not just saving, but investing. Because even if they are, 10 years or 15 years, if they have that time frame, they can get awesome returns. Even by starting with a simple SIP, today we can start with even 500 rupees.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all our students and all our young adults who are watching this show, most of them would get pocket money. Then you get gifts during, maybe Dhanteras or your birthday or something. And if you're even earning if you're doing an internship, you're earning some amount.
Yeah.
So even if you put 10% of that amount and start investing and then step it up,
Yeah.
you have a kind of a corpus which is created by the time you actually start and you want to get financially free, maybe even at 20, 25 or 30.
Yeah.
And I would also encourage all parents, I normally tell all my clients to start off when the child is born.
Yeah.
So even the child gets a cushion, it's a kind of a SIP. Even if they start with a simple SIP or even put a lump sum and leave it, just like the Maruti ad, I always say, fill it, shut it, forget it.
Absolutely.
Put that aside. And then when the child is 18, if he starts even adding once he starts his income, it's like amazing. He has that amount which is there for him.
Yeah.
So it is so important that young adults start early. The other thing which I talk to young adults is about their credit score and ensuring how they use a credit card, because today everything is available by just swiping a card.
Yeah.
So how to manage their money, these kinds of things, if they are taught from a young age and if it is taught in schools and colleges, which is a part of my mission, it will really, really help not just the individual, the students, the society, but it will also help our global economy because these are our
Absolutely.
future investors.
Yeah, you hit the right spot, right? Because credit scores, CIBIL scores make a huge difference for these youngsters who are, it's like they, as they say, buy now, repent later kind of attitude that is coming in, and it's so important when they go in for those home loans or the family way that these can be
And you
obstacles.
rightly said, like, today there are more consumption of reels and Instagram and all those happening, wherein there are a lot of shortcuts there, but they need to be aware to understand what are the right things. Normally
Correct.
when they see credit cards, they think about lounge access.
Correct.
They don't think about how to use the credit card smartly.
Yeah, that's
So all these things
absolutely.
have to be taught to them.
Correct. So Neeta, the freedom of choice, is actually the real wealth in that sense, right? Money is not just about the crores or the millions or billions, as we say, but about the courage to say yes or no without fear, right? That's how money is all about, and one needs to sincerely embed that thought of investing. What are your views on this?
Absolutely, you are spot on. I always talk about money just being a tool.
Yeah.
It is a means to an end, but yes, it is a tool. Money cannot make anyone happy, but yes, it can. It's like they say, it will help you get happiness.
Yeah.
Provided you use it properly. You don't become a slave to money, but you make your money work for you. So that's been, when I talk about financial freedom, I talk about it as the power of choice. Like I always said, Santosh, I share this with all my clients and with my audience, and here I would like to share it again. Our life is the sum of all the decisions that we make daily.
Yeah.
And most of these decisions that we make are financial decisions. And based on these decisions, our life choices are done.
True.
Now, when I talk to women, some of them say, oh, I've become a housewife. Okay, but if that is out of choice, it is wonderful. That's choice. That's a power of choice. So don't give your choice or your power to someone else.
Yeah.
I would tell them, retain your power. Take charge of your financial lives. And taking charge of your financial lives is not going and decoding a mutual fund or a stock.
Correct.
It starts from understanding about, where your money is,
Yeah.
how much have you, how much bank balance do you have? Because I've seen cases where people don't have this choice
Hmm.
and they do not get financially free. There are so many people who are stuck in jobs,
Hmm.
which they do not like.
Yeah, but they need to continue because of
They need
whatever
to
home
continue
loans,
because
etc.,
there are
etc. Yeah.
EMIs, there are so many other things. They're stuck in with bosses they do not like.
Hmm.
They have no choice. They have not upskilled themselves. They have not made their money work for them. They're still staying paycheck to paycheck. Even at age 45, 50, I've seen these cases.
Yeah.
They are not physically fit. So they
Hmm.
are scared. They have not taken care of upgrading themselves. And so they are stuck in that rat race.
And this is
But if you
quite a
make your
majority
money,
of a population, right? Working population.
absolutely. So if you make your money work for you,
Hmm.
that's the best thing that can be done.
Yeah.
So that's where financial freedom is the power of choice. As you rightly said, money is just a tool,
Yeah.
and you have to make your money work for you. And that's how, when you start, you give your money time, you give
Yeah.
it goals, and you have a proper plan and strategy in place.
True.
Having said that, I always tell young adults and also everyone, you need to enjoy your money as well.
Hmm.
Because I have seen in India, people keep saving money and investing money. They retire, but they still don't use their money for themselves.
Yeah.
But when I've traveled abroad, so I've been on cruises with, my husband was on a cruise liner. So years
Hmm.
back when I was on a cruise, I used to meet people out there in the US, in the UK, and they would be booked for 2, 3 cruises together.
Yeah.
And when I would talk to them, they said, no, my son has a partner. He's staying at my house, in my house in UK. He pays me rent. And I am booked myself on a cruise. I'm enjoying my life at this moment.
Absolutely.
But if I look at Indian parents, they have taken EMIs, the child has gone abroad, and the parent is still paying the EMI.
Yeah. For their
And
education
so he
loan.
continues to work for money even after he's retired and he's
Yeah.
taking extensions.
Yeah.
So that's the sad part,
True.
which
But
needs to change.
that's correct. And that's where you have fantastic financial investment tools like SIPs for that matter, right? Which is your traditional recurring deposit, which you and me probably, in the 80s and the 90s. And now you have the SIPs and the power of compounding, right? So using SIPs wisely, right? And following that asset allocation and really building that long-term wealth, I think it's very, very important. What's been your experience? And I'm sure you've had clients who really follow to the T and are absolutely out there, very, very, the fire and the financially independent, retire early kind of jargons, as we may say so. But there can be true stories in life. Anyone
Absolutely.
to share?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to share my own story because I normally have done it myself. And once I believe in it thoroughly, then I go all out.
Yeah.
In fact, even when I got married, as I said, my husband was on the cruise liner, he was earning in pounds. I would see most of the money
Hmm.
would go into the bank FD.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people, when I would be there, a lot of Indians working on the cruise, I felt when they would come back, they would invest all their money either in property or in a bank, and then some RM would call them from the bank when they come for 2 months vacation,
Yeah.
and that money would be put in some ULIP or some scheme or whatever. That's when I said, what is this happening? So in fact, I started off my career with life insurance. So we
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of life insurance policies,
Hmm.
but we had not invested in the markets because
Hmm.
it was always there that, markets are risky. And even I had those messages even from my dad, and my dad believed in more of FDs. And after that scare which had happened with the corporate deposit scheme
Yeah.
where we lost our money, he started being very conservative with his money.
Hmm.
So we would only keep it in FDs or, some deposits, FD schemes or whatever. And mutual funds and all was not even, I'm talking about this is around the 1994, 95.
And we
That
are
was when
fresh
I
from the
moved.
1992 Harshad Mehta scam. So,
Right, absolutely. So then, there was more of a scare and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Then in 2002, almost when I got married, I saw that there was money, but we decided to take a property. And I told my husband, oh, we need to invest in the markets.
Hmm.
And he said, oh, it's risky.
Hmm.
I said, okay, let me tell you how it is.
Hmm.
And we started. So I went and at that point of time, I started doing my certified financial planning.
Okay.
And that's when I realized it's not just about risk management. I am a fellowship in life insurance as well.
Hmm.
So till then I was only doing insurance. And then I started my certified financial planning. And that's when I realized there's so much more.
Hmm.
If you need to make wealth, you cannot put your money in a life insurance policy.
Yeah.
They are mostly investment oriented policies. And I had a lot of those myself.
Yeah.
Then once I did that, I started investing our money
Hmm.
in mutual funds.
Okay.
And we built a really good corpus, and that has really, really helped us over the years.
Yeah.
We have been building it, as you said, consistently. Sometimes, okay, if you'd fall off the bandwagon, again, the persistency to come back.
Yeah.
That helped 15 years plus.
Yeah.
And that has really, really helped us. And
Absolutely.
with that story and with that example, when I started telling my clients, yes, I understand, you need to think about long term. You need to work in the long term. And again, another thing which I felt when it comes to long term, we talk to clients as advisors about long term, but we have to stop and ask a client, what does long term mean to him? Because I was shocked.
Okay.
Clients would say long term means 2 years.
Their
And then I would say,
definition.
absolutely. This is 2 years is quite a long term. So today I'm talking about, at least 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Some
Correct.
years back, I would at least say it should be 5 or 6 years. If you want your money to compound, compounding hits in after 6 years, not before that.
Yeah.
So you need to give your time for your money to grow. And it has really helped a lot of my clients. In fact, as you said, there has been a client of mine who has been so consistent in investing that even if he would get a bonus, he would call me and say, Neeta, what should I do? Should I step up my SIP? What do you suggest? Should I put in the money or should I buy this? And we had that conversation. And he really said it really helped me to build my corpus over the years.
Yeah.
So, yes, consistency, discipline,
Yeah.
and good financial habits. There's, these things are important.
Yeah.
And then having a good advisor who can, work in your best interest, that is what is important.
Yeah. And especially in today's generation, right? When you have AI kind of overtaking careers and you never know, right? Probably there may be a career in AI, but the kind of attritions that's happening all over the world in different industries. And if you are in those 20s, 30s, I think it's probably the best time to start doing your investing, SIPs to that matter. And then you never know at age 45, 50, it could be a time to be, take a step back because it just comes your way from your organizations. Then at least there is this big corpus already in your hand, probably.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why, I miss telling you, but my next book that I'm working on is for young adults. I'm co-authoring it along with my 20-year-old son, Keegan.
Okay.
Because
awesome.
I wanted to give a voice, of a young adult as well, not just from someone who's an advisor and who's a parent.
Yeah.
So it could help both the parents and the advisors.
Hmm.
So, that's in the working at the moment.
Wonderful.
And I've done a lot of courses as well. I have for young adults. I've done online courses which are there available on my platform as well.
Awesome. So, global, empowered women, educating families, making independent people aware of these financial, the literacy, as you say. I guess if you look at it from a microcosm, it really makes India strong, right? Because it really sets India to a global power because the kind of money that is, there is the saving and then there is the wealth building, which are two distinct. And it's important that we move on. As you said, your father was more into the savings piece of it. And there is this transition of a generation to wealth building. I'm sure that what is leading to a strong nation like, what we look forward from a Viksit Bharat standpoint. Am I right?
Right. Absolutely. In fact, I'm also wanting to add one more point to this. Yes, there's a lot of saving, a lot of investing, a lot of money coming in the hands of the youngsters because today even, there are youngsters who are earning huge sums.
Yeah.
And if they're able to save and invest them properly, it is really, really good.
True.
But we also need to be aware that, today's youngsters are more used to an instant coffee.
The Insta generation, right?
Yeah. And in India, I've seen two extremes. Either people are very, very conservative. So they'll invest in savings or FDs and they'll keep their money there. Or they're extremely aggressive suddenly and they want to invest in things like Bitcoin and F&O.
Yeah, the future bhi nahi, option bhi nahi generation is really increasing. It's very scary.
Absolutely. And they're not looking at the mid path. So I, in fact, tell them even that as an asset allocation, look at least, build your corpus to at least some, a decent size through mutual funds. Do stocks for long term, not trading.
Yeah.
Trading will not give you may lose money as well. You may gain money as well. It's a good kick to have.
Yeah.
But yes, you need to have a decent corpus building because you need to start making your money work for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, that's where the financial awareness, especially for the youth, as you rightly say, they go from one extreme to another and that's worse, right? Futures and options or, the Bitcoins. We are not saying don't go in for it, but go have a certain, segment of your allocation probably. And as much
Absolutely.
possible.
In fact, it's like, Adam and Eve. If you've told them not to eat the apple, they went and they tried it out. It's the same with today's students. You tell them, your children, if you tell them don't do something, they would want to try it out. So in fact, you need to say, okay, take 2% or 5% of whatever you're having and try that out
Yeah.
and invest here. In fact, I even explained to them, I had this conversation with my son as well. He said, why not invest in stocks? I said, okay, how much money do you have in hand? If you have 10,000 and if you want to invest in good stocks, right?
Yeah.
So even one particular stock is costing around 5,000 or 6,000, you may hardly get 2 stocks in hand.
True. Yeah.
Whereas a mutual fund is something where you can get a variety of
Entire
stocks.
basket. Yeah. It's an
Entire
allocation.
basket. You have a fund manager, there is a regulation. So at least start over there. So you'll get an understanding. Study that mutual fund, see what stocks that the fund advisor is investing in, track that, and simultaneously gradually start building your portfolio.
Yeah.
So you have to start from somewhere, but don't go completely, because I've seen clients, even clients of the age of 50, 65, where they get into this burnt finger syndrome.
True.
Where they've invested their money and they say, oh, Neeta, don't tell me about, investing my money, because the moment I put money in the markets fall.
Yeah.
And we've had conversations like that with really senior guys who are very savvy. And then I, very nicely tell them, sir, so you're trying to tell me that, the market is depending on you putting it. So next time when you want to invest your money, do let me know.
Absolutely.
And then we have a laugh and then we say, okay, I share with them how the behavior works, the behavior gap about, when you are greedy, people go, keep on buying. When it is actually time, when the money is, when the markets are down, it's sale time. I tell my women actually, it's sale. It's like the Myntra sale. It's like
Correct.
the
Just go and
Amazon
invest.
sale.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you should not sell at that time. You should buy.
True.
So those simple concepts, if you've explained to them in layman's language, I think even to the young adults, even to women, and even to a lot of men, I mean, I feel for everyone, it's about making the complex simple.
Correct.
And explaining to these concepts with simple things attached to daily life.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Neeta manages founder and CEO of Financially Smart, and a wonderful author who recently has come up with her first debut book. All the very best to your second book, which you're going to work with your son, Keegan. And I'm sure the audiences would love to read a book where there's a balanced view, right? Not just as an advisor, but also a consumer, right? Your son playing the role of the consumer, as to say, as an investor, how has he come across? And I'm sure that he represents a genre that is really looking forward to get kind of an education.
It's also about, I've put in also something like which I'm working on. It's about having conversations as a parent and a son.
Yeah.
How do you get them to talk about money? How do you give them responsibilities? And I've done that with my son.
Yeah.
So, when we go on a travel, when we go on a trip, I have given him told him to decide on the budget for petrol, where we'll stop, where we'll eat, how much is required, what is the amount, the tolls. He calculates everything.
Yeah.
That's how he takes responsibility. And he is able to manage his budget. So unless you give them the practical experience and just tell, by just telling them, it will not happen. And that's why the first book for women, because I felt if a woman is educated, she will definitely teach her son or daughter.
Yeah, agree.
So, it starts with money conversations at home. Today, we need to have money conversations.
True. Completely agree.
It should be at the dinner table. It should be when you're with friends. It would be even, I encourage women to have money conversations.
True.
And we need advisors who can listen, who have empathy.
And understand the challenges of that person who could be their prospect client. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Neeta Managers, once again, thank you so much for being on this episode of The Sound of Money. Truly awesome to have your advice based on all that experience, right? From a senior citizens to the young adults. It's a completely different spectrum. And I hope our audiences love such kind of experiences and really take Neeta's advice, her suggestions on financial planning truly seriously, because end of the day, one has to be financially smart. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thanks, Santosh. And let's get financially smart.
Absolutely. And with that, we come to the end of this episode of season 3 of The Sound of Money. Looking forward to having another wonderful guest just like Neeta on my next episode. From me, Santosh Sirur, and my guest, Neeta Managers, thank you once again for being on The Sound of Money. Bye-bye.
Thank you.